Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to share with you how I took this early 2000s style coffee table and gave it an updated look by simply applying a new stain to it. As you can see here, the piece is actually in pretty good shape. Really and truly, all it had was a little bit of wear and tear on the top, some accumulated dust from being in storage, and it just needed a little TLC to give it a brand new look. The first thing we did was clean the table very, very well with some soap and water. And then we disassembled it and removed the base from the part that was actually wood. Oh, yeah, when I say we, I mean my friend and, of course, my niece. You can't miss her. She loves helping me out. Throughout this video, you'll see my friend helping me out with the project. She has become interested in refinishing furniture herself, and she wasn't sure where to start or if she would even like it. So I invited her over so she could shadow me a couple days, learn on the job skills, and see if she even liked it. And if she did, then she could start off herself. With that completed, we started sanding the surface of the table. Because we wanted to stain this piece, we needed to remove the old finish and the stain entirely. But we knew we were dealing with a piece of veneer. So we started off with a 120 grit sandpaper and sanded the entire piece. A few things to mention that happened as we were sanding. First, the veneer on one of the corners came off. Yikes! So to fix that, we added some wood glue and some furniture clamps and just placed it back into place. And then we accidentally over sanded a section on the top of the table. We really didn't notice how much damage we had done until we stained the coffee table. So later in the video, I will show you guys the area this happened to and what we did to fix it as much as possible. But in the meantime, the next thing we did was clean off all the dust from the surface before we moved any further. With the surface fully sanded and cleaned, we began to prep for staining. Using a clean brush, we applied a layer of Varathane pre-stain wood conditioner to the tabletop, the drawers, and all of the sides. Then we cleaned off the excess with a lint-free cloth. Veneers and woods are very porous surfaces, and because of that, the stain will penetrate differently in different areas. So to try to avoid that as much as possible and give it more of a uniform look, we're going to apply the pre-stained wood conditioner. That is the whole purpose behind it. With the pre-stain dried, we lightly sanded the surface with a 220 grit sandpaper, ensuring to remove any small bumps or imperfections that could have occurred. Then we wiped down any dust with a clean, wet rag. For this piece, we used Varathane wood stain in a smoky gray color. Because this is an oil-based substance, cleaning it is way more hectic than any water-based solution. You typically need to use like mineral spirits to remove them from your brushes, your hands, and anything like that, which it's a strong chemical that I personally try to avoid. Therefore, whenever I apply a stain, I ensure to use gloves and I use a towel or piece of fabric that I'm willing to dispose of whenever I'm done. I have seen people apply the stain with a brush and then they wipe down the excess. I personally like to wipe as I go, and it allows me to see how intense the stain is getting on the surface, and it also helps me match it throughout the entire piece. We let the stain dry overnight, and then we lightly sanded it with a 220 grit sandpaper, cleaning all the dust. Now, remember I mentioned earlier that we accidentally oversanded an area on the top of the coffee table? Well, here it is. As you guys can see, this area is quite large. I would say if you were to fold a dollar bill in half, like hamburger style, that's how big this area was. So I decided to attempt to fake the wood grain by adding some strokes of paint, stain, and just kind of playing around with it until I was happy. And about 45 minutes later of playing around with the colors, the strokes, the effect, I felt pretty content with how it was blending into the surface. Therefore, I just let it fully dry before moving forward. Now, I know this area looks a little bit darker than the other areas around it. But if you were to step back, there were other places on this table that had a similar look of darkness. So it actually kind of blended in and it worked out really well. To seal the piece, we used bare polyurethane in a matte finish. We applied 4 layers of polyurethane, lightly sanding in between each layer. One thing I suggest when applying the polyurethane is to go with some long strokes following the grain of the wood. Once an area is done, don't go backwards. As the polyurethane starts to dry, it becomes very sticky, and those brush strokes are going to be super noticeable. Therefore, what I suggest is wait for it to fully dry, then apply another layer to ensure that the surface is fully covered and protected. we let this dry overnight and then we were ready to reassemble it. To be fully transparent, I had been wanting to change my own coffee table at my house, and after we were done with this piece, I really liked it. I thought it would work really well in this space. So I took it home and I reassembled it there. And after a handful of days' work, we took this early 2000s coffee table and gave it a simple, updated look by just changing the wood stain color. I'm so happy with this coffee table that in the end, yes, I did decide to keep it for myself. The area that we had over sanded blended really nice with the rest of the piece. And to be honest, if you didn't know any better, you would have never known that we had that little mishap. I'll make sure to add a list of supplies we used in the description below, just in case you need it or need to reference back to it. I really enjoyed working and teaching my friend how to start creating her own flips. I'm excited to see what she comes up with, and hopefully she enjoys it as much as I did. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Remember, it doesn't cost you a thing to subscribe to the channel, and it really helps me out to reach my goals. And as usual, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to you guys, but I will see you guys soon here at Angie's Crafts Furniture Renovation. Goodbye!